Hi, all my lovely peeps. Welcome back. We are now at part 4, yes, part 4 of Momma Cherri's From the Ghetto to Ramsey and Beyond. Okay, if you haven't watched part 1, 2, and 3, then I think you need to. So stop right now, go back, watch those, because otherwise you're going to be asking questions. Like, well, what did she do here and how did she get there? I tell it all. So go back and review 1, 2, and 3. And here we are at number 4. So where we left off in part 3, I believe I had gone off to Greece. Yes. And this was Skiathos, a beautiful island in Greece. Now, a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine, Amanda. Hi, Amanda Wybrow. She is still in Greece to this day. She went out there when she was a teenager, kind of fell in love with the island. And then fell in love with a couple of guys on the island. But she ended up marrying this one guy. How you doing there, Lambros? And there she stayed. So she decided that she wanted to open up a restaurant. And the restaurant she wanted to do was a Mexican restaurant. Now, because I had lived in Mexico, I think you'll find that in part 2. She said to me, well, will you come out and be my chef? Now, I'll be honest with you. I ain't never been a chef in my life. But I've always been a good cook. And I love cooking. And I love Mexican food. So, of course, I said, oh, of course I can do it. So what I did is I packed up all my stuff, packed up the foster kids, got permission, and we flew off to Greece. I hired an absolutely beautiful little summer house. And we'd go off to Greece every single summer. Now, we did that for 5 summers. Yes, it was that long. 5 summers, back and forth, running Desperados. That was the restaurant. And it was very, very popular, our Mexican restaurant. Now, in between those, within those 5 years, obviously, we'd fly back for September because the kids had to go to school. And it was during that time when I was doing a lot of my teaching, and I've told you about that in part 3 at the universities and at the schools and everything. But there's another thing I did that I didn't tell you guys about. Rachel and the Street Angels, we were asked to do some recordings on a record with this up-and-coming group from Brixton. They were called Alabama 3. Now, they kind of did this kind of like country, funky, street style music. It was really cool. I loved, and I'll tell you right now, some of my best memories was recording with them because it was Ray, myself, Deborah, and Milton. Okay, so it was 4 of us, and we were the backing vocalists. And one of the songs that we recorded, you all know it. And I bet you didn't have any idea that Momma Cherri was singing in the background. So I'm just going to press play just so you can hear a little bit of it. And I ain't even going to tell you what it is. But you listen and you will hear me. Katrina, I want you to turn around. Yes, that is the Sopranos. Well-known TV program. And if you listen there in the background, you will hear the Street Angels. Woke up this morning. Now listen carefully. Listen. That's me.
That laughter is...
Did you hear that laughter?
You've heard that laughter.
That was Momma Cherri. Let me pause it. So yes, we were really shocked to discover... Whoops, let me stop that. We were very shocked to discover that the Alabama 3 had been... This is my new granddaughter.
That's
Stella.
my Stella.
This is Stella. Say hi, Stella.
Say hi, Stella.
She's been here for 1 day, and she already jumping up in my video. So yes, so we sang the backing vocals to Woke Up This Morning with Alabama 3 on The Sopranos. And I think we recorded 2, did we do 2 albums with them, Ray?
4.
Oh, good mother, we did 4. So we were on the backing vocals of 4 of their albums. So I advise you, if you got the time, check them out. They are really funky and really cool. So going back to Greece. So while I was in Greece, basically doing all of this cooking and everything, it was during this period when I met my husband, my current husband, Phil Jones. Now, if you go back to the video called My Experience, it's there. So Momma Cherri, Gordon Ramsay, My Experience, it tells you all about how Phil and I met, okay? We met on a blind date, so check it out. I'm not even going to tell that story again because I want y'all to go and look at it there. But when we met, Phil basically, he came out to Greece, spent a summer out there with us, and I think he kind of realized that I really was enjoying this restaurant business. But he also was realistic to know that it wasn't something that we could sustain as a couple and keep it going. So he said to me, well, why don't you do your own restaurant? And I said, what? He said, just cook the kind of food you like eating. I went, what? Italian? Pasta? Mexican? He said, no. What do you cook every day at home? Light bulb moment. And I went, you're right. Soul food. See, I hadn't even thought about soul food as a restaurant, as a concept. Because you know why? Because there were none. But then me, you know me, Momma Cherri, I'm a pioneer. So because that triggered me, and I thought, he's right. There are no soul food restaurants, so why not open the first one? So, still living in London, and I knew that there was no way I could afford to do a restaurant in London. I just couldn't afford it, too expensive. Now, I had friends who lived down in Brighton. Now, Brighton is at the seaside. It's only about an hour outside of London. It's called London by Sea, basically. So I decided, why don't I head down to Brighton and see what's going on? So a really good friend of mine, Perrin, she said to me, she said, listen, a friend of mine has given me a short-term lease on a sandwich shop. Would you come down for the summer and help me run it? So I thought, yeah, why not? It'll also give me a taste for Brighton. So, I said to her, I'll tell you right now, I ain't doing no plain old just making up cold sandwiches. It's got to be with a little bit of a difference. So she said, look, there's a kitchen. You do what you want to do. So we did homemade pizzas and little fajitas and wraps, and we just sold out of the front of the window, like a storefront. And it was great. I stayed with my good friend Shandy, which was Perrin's mom. And so I stayed there for the summer while Phil stayed up in London. And what are you doing, Ray?
It sounds interesting. I want to hear.
No, look, don't be jumping in.
I'm not going to say nothing.
So I said, okay, fine. So we ran this restaurant for the summer. It was just a sandwich bar. And during that period is when we decided to start to look for premises. And we found quite a few different premises. Phil would come down at the weekends and look at the different places. We had contacted the bank. We put together our business plan. And the bank said that they would help us initially with a little teeny bit of money. But the good thing about it is, at this stage, Phil basically said, all right, I'll tell you what I'll do, because he had a flat at the time. And he said, all right, what I'll do is I will sell my flat so that we've got some money to use. But before we did that, let me get it right. Yeah, we decided to get married first, because I said we can't be doing a restaurant and a marriage. So in the year 2000, the millennium, we had the wedding of the year.
Wedding of the decade.
Of the decade. It was like a royal occasion.
It was ridiculous.
I had 30 members from America flew over. So you guys, it was like the big American invasion. Chiswick did not know what hit them because it was my mother, her aunts, my great aunt Delia, my great aunt, Anna didn't come over. She came over for the next one. Came. My Aunt May came. My Aunt Peggy came. And it was great because
Aunt Delia
came. All of my friends, they gave up their homes. And one was going on holiday. And she said, yeah, your family can have my house. And they gave that house to my family. They ran it. Then I had lots of other friends who had friends who were going away for the holidays because it was around the Easter period. They took over. But it was funny
It
because
was Airbnb before Airbnb existed.
yeah, it was like
basically.
Airbnb
Yeah.
basically. But the thing about it was a trip because they would be on the high street. Now Chiswick is a quite affluenty type place, quite white, with a few sprinkles of pepper,
Literally.
salt and pepper. There was some of us pepper scattered around. But Chiswick didn't know what happened because I'm telling you, that pepper became a star. And they would see all of a sudden, and this was during the period of remember them shell suits?
Shell suits.
Remember them shell
Yes,
suits?
they were like the Golden Girls.
So it was all my mother and all her
so
sisters and her
funny.
aunts parading down Chiswick High Road in a row looking like a serpentine thing with these bright colored pinks and blues and orange shell suits and trainers.
Hilarious.
And it was
And
hilarious.
like sun visors.
And sun visors. They look like an advertisement from America Plus. The Golden Girls.
It was hilarious.
But not only that, they know what side of the road to be on. So they'd be walking down and they'd be going like this. They'd be going. Look, and I'd say, just look left, look right, look left. And they'd be like this. Trying to, and then they would start. And once they started across the road, it was like, people. And the cars would stop because it would be this long procession of black women crossing the road. But that was cool. That was an adventure.
It's hilarious.
It was hysterical. But then we had the wedding, and in my wedding, first my thing was I decided that I didn't want nobody in my wedding that was taller than me. So I had all my bridesmaids were my mini bridesmaids. So I said they had to be age 10 and under.
Which meant means her daughters weren't allowed
So
to
it
be
meant my daughters
bridesmaids.
weren't allowed, but then they talked me into letting them come into it. So I said, y'all can do it, but y'all ain't walking with me. Y'all gotta do your separate thing. So I had I think I had 15 little girls.
That's ridiculous.
And boys.
Yeah, because they each had a page boy with them.
They had a page boy. And then I had the older girls, my foster children and my daughters. They tried to take over, but I didn't let them take over. And then my foster son, Edgar, he walked me down the aisle. He was so cute. He was a teenager there. All right, Stella, chill out. And we walked down the aisle to Let's Get It On.
Oh, Lord.
Woo, baby.
Don't sit on the dog. Don't sit on the dog.
Let's get it on. Move stuff. Get down. So we did that. So that was the wedding part. So after the wedding got out of the way, and we decided that we were going to move to Brighton, open up the restaurant, and that's when we discovered this tiny, tiny little restaurant. It was a French restaurant, and it was quite posh. And we got ripped off. I mean, let's face it, I got ripped off
Massively ripped
you
off.
know, he should have never charged us what he did, but I fell in love with the place. It just reminded me of home. It was like my little shack. So we called it the Soul Food Shack. So we were running the Soul Food Shack. I'd never run a restaurant before, so I didn't really know what to do. I thought you just get in there, cook the food up, sell it, and that's it. No. There's a whole lot more to running a restaurant. And also, the way I ran it is like friends and family, you know. Come on, come ye, come on. And plus the fact that, you know, the homeless, they cutting on to me real quick.
Real quick.
The word got out in Brighton. There's a new restaurant in town called Momma Cherri's, and she will feed you for free. Because I made the mistake that, you know, I would open the door and I'd see these people out on the street and I'd say, come on in. Come on in. And, you know, some of them I used to say, I'm sorry, I didn't quite say you stink. I didn't. But I would say, I'll bring the food outside to you. Because I got customers inside and I didn't wish to offend anybody. Now, this worked for a while. Where I then got into the habit of when the restaurant closed at 11 o'clock, that's when my soup kitchen opened. Because they would be lined up outside because I'm not going to throw nothing in the bin.
No.
That just ain't the way I roll. So I would, at 11 o'clock, I would open it up and I'd bring down the fried chicken, the jambalaya, and all the bits and pieces, and I'd give it away. Up until one day when this one boy, he was a regular, and I looked outside and there he was. I was like, oh Lordy, come on in. I said, look, he said, Cherry, I've been beat up and I just need I need to go to a hostel for the night. And he gave me this story and I'd seen him before. So I said, look, okay, just let me go upstairs and get some money because I didn't really have any money downstairs. But I made the mistake. I left my bag downstairs. So I go upstairs to get him, because I'd open up the bag, and I said, and he saw me open, I said, I ain't got no money in here. I got to go get you some money from upstairs. But I left my bag, and I only had about 5 pounds in it. He was by himself. Lo and behold, some other person, homeless, looked through the door, saw him, decided to walk on up in my restaurant, and took my bag. The other one was stood there kind of like, when I get downstairs, he's like, Mom, I'm so sorry. But I couldn't stop him because I told you I'd already been beaten up once. So there we go. I lost my handbag. I lost my phone. I lost my wallet. And it had no money in it. And I'm thinking, ain't no money on the credit card. So why you take my bag? I never got that bag back. But it did teach me a lesson. They had to stay outside from now on. I did not invite them in because, unfortunately, one bad apple can spoil the bunch. So I didn't stop giving to the homeless. I just had to stop inviting them into my home because you just never know who you can trust. And it was getting to the point where things are really starting to get a bit like this. We weren't able to pay our bills. Watch the one my real experience. Because I ain't going to tell it all here. Because I done already told it once before. Hi, Stella. So you watch that and you'll understand. But then it got to the point when I had to get help. And that's when we got Gordon Ramsay on board. And Gordon Ramsay came down. Basically, he loved it. What can I say? He loved the food. However, he did not like the way I was running my business. Because he said, your name might be Sharita, which stands for charity, but this is not a charitable organization. This is a business. So I had to learn. Oh, she is sweet. I'll give it to her. She is cute.
I've got that on camera.
Well, she's cute for now. She's only a day old. We'll see how she goes.
She's not a day old.
Oh, no, a day living here. She is kind of cute. Okay, so my peeps, I'm going to finish part 4 right here, because there's so much more to come in part 5. So from me to you, with lots of love and soul, into part 4. Look out for part 5.